Hello guys, I'm Arek from areknava.com and this is my first YouTube video. Now, on my blog I write about great many things ranging from web development to design and tech. I plan for this channel to serve a similar purpose, just in a different way. I hope that you'll enjoy it. Without further ado, let's get on to the video. If you've worked with JavaScript before, then you probably know what console.log method is, right? It's probably one of, if not the most abused method in JS. Even with complex debugging tools constantly getting better and better, this one method has never gone out of fashion. And the Console API is just a wider view, an extension of what console.log can do. So, in this video, we're going to explore all of its possibilities. Just know that some of the methods mentioned here are specific for the browser environment and don't necessarily work with Node.js. Let's start with something simple, the console.log method itself. Of course, you can use it to simply log stuff, but it can do more. For example, let's take string substitution, a simple feature that allows you to replace certain expressions in your logged string with custom values. And it doesn't simply convert them to a string type, but instead puts them right inside the logged message. Now, it's certainly useful for complex values like arrays and objects, but not so for numbers and strings. It's up to you to choose what syntax and formatting you prefer. Speaking of which, there's also a special string sub-like directive that allows you to style your console messages with real CSS. It may not allow for entire CSS layouts to be put inside your console, but you can still create some pretty neat logs. CSS styles must be provided after the message string and are applied one by one to the parts that follow the %c directive. So, we've already introduced CSS to our logs, and we're just getting started. Now, let's take a look at some ways of formatting console messages. Console.group method can prove to be useful, especially when dealing with large quantities of different logs. It can help you keep them organized by placing them inside collapsible lists. All the logs preceded by the console.group or console.group collapsed call are put within the given group, which then can be closed with console.group end. Groups can also be nested and collapsed or uncollapsed at will. While modern browsers provide a somewhat nice way of inspecting deep arrays and objects, there's always some room for improvement. Console.table gives you such a possibility by simply displaying your structure in form of a table. Simply call it, provide a value, and you're done. Such a technique is especially useful when dealing with two-dimensional arrays. Because Console API is often used to debug some serious bugs, the console.trace is a very useful method. Apart from simply logging your data, it also provides you with a complete pathway, aka trace, to the given call. So, you can put it in place of a supposed error and see where it's originating from. Of course, it's not usually that simple, but hey, at least we've got some help, right? You can always mix the console.trace method with previously discussed CSS directive, and you've got some pretty nice looking and useful log. Console API provides us with as many as 4 similar mixes, together with some additional features. I'm talking about console.error, console.warn, console.debug, and console.info. While the first two have some additional styling and trace info included, the second duo comes with none of these features. But what all of them share is the ability to be grouped into certain categories. I'm not talking about the console.group methods, but rather about the functionality provided within the browser's console itself. Going further into console.log variations, we've got the console.assert method. When considering its functionality, it's a very special method. It allows you to assert a certain boolean value and log the following message if needed. When the first value provided is evaluated to be true, nothing happens. But if it's false, the following message is logged with the formatting and trace info similar to the console.error method. As we're coming to the end of this list, we're now entering some more meta functionalities. The first of which is a set of console.time methods which allow you to perform some quick and dirty performance test of your code. You can start your timer by calling the console.time method, check it with console.timeLog, and finally end it and log for the one last time with console.timeEnd. If you want to have and control multiple timers at the same time, you can do this by providing a special label, either number or string, to each of the methods, so that you'll have a way of referencing the given timer. Console.count is probably one of the most basic methods that you can find in the Console API. All it does is simply counting the number of times that it has been called. Simple, right? It certainly can be useful for some, but right now I don't see myself using it. Anyway, you can reset the counter with the console.count reset call, and just like with console.time, you can have multiple counters by providing a label to each console.count call. Finally, if your logs get too crowded, you can clean them with simple console.clear call. So, that's it guys. Hope you've learned something new. If you're into this whole web development stuff, you can check out my blog for a written version of the Console API overview. And of course, a lot more. Anyway, I'm extremely interested in your thoughts about this form of content. Would you like to see more of such videos, or do you prefer usual blog posts? Let me know down in the comments or by dropping a like or a sub. If you want to stay up to date with all of my latest content, whether it's a blog post, a video or something different, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Reddit or a newsletter on my website. Thanks for watching.